Wow, if it was hard for us in the first year of marriage, having done all these important things, how much harder could have been if we didn't do any of it? I'm just gonna say it. I also think that once you're married, you guys should have the same bank account. And in this video, we're gonna talk about 5 different things that you should do if you're about to get married. Most of them we actually did.
Except for one thing that I messed up on. Number 1, counseling. And I'm talking about as an individual. There will be time for you to counsel as a couple, but as an individual, I cannot stress to you enough how important counseling is for you as an individual. There's people on here right now, and I was one of them, who say, I don't need counseling. That's not for me. I don't want other people to know my business. Okay, shut up, whatever. Or you're in the other group where you're like, yeah, nothing's wrong with me. Like, I've never experienced this, or I've worked through it. I promise you, when you get into the session, they are trained to ask you questions for you to reflect on yourself. And that's exactly what happened with me. There are a lot of things in our marriage. If I would have taken care of those before and just went to a counseling session one time and been open-minded, it would have saved a lot of necessary conversations, arguments, and a lot of struggles within our marriage.
And I would even say that if you right now are with, dating someone and that person is kind of like completely opposed to doing counseling of any kind, that to me would be like a red flag, because I think going to counseling is a big sign of vulnerability, but also just transparency. And let's be honest, you can sue the counselor if they share your business, and that's kind of like
you get paid.
And that's kind of like my analogy on it. Like, I think it is important to create a safe space where you can share what you've been through. Like, let's say that you went through a lot of trauma or whatever, past relationships, and you're like, I am fine. Those things later on will surface in marriage. And for your partner, it's unfair have to face those things if you didn't deal with back then. So this is the moment to do it. And of course, if those things surface in marriage, you come, with solutions, and you kind of like work together. And that's what we did. But I think our first and second year would have saved us a lot of conflict if we both would have done counseling individually. The second one, honestly, one of the best piece of nuggets that someone gave us. And I was talking to this person, and he's a pastor, and I was going through the list of all the things that we did, and most of them are these ones. And he's like, hey, you guys should talk about how you will fight, because it's not a question of if we will fight, it's how and when we will fight. And that was like a cool conversation that we both had, because both of us came from completely different backgrounds. Our families had different practices, yelling, cussing, whatever that may be. And I think for us, it was important. Okay, when we fight, what are the rules that we're gonna set in place, and we're gonna hold each other accountable? So number 1 was we do not mention the word divorce. Like, we don't throw that word at each other just in any conflict or ever, really. Like,
no D word at all.
Yes. The second one is not cussing. Like, we don't cuss at each other. We can cuss at something, but not at each other. Like when you hit your pinky, in the couch.
What do you say?
I say. The third one is we don't yell. We don't raise our voices.
That one we have broken.
Yes. But I also feel like we get very passionate. So it has never been like cussing at each other.
So.
And sometimes you just raise your tone and you're like, okay, no, let me settle down. The fourth one is we do not leave. And by leaving, I don't mean like you don't give each other the space to process and all of that. It's like, if we have a disagreement, I'm not like, okay, I don't care, and I just leave. It is like, hey, I don't want to talk about it right now. I know that was wrong. Let me process, and then we will come back together.
Something to pay attention to is how your parents, how they fought, because that will tell you a lot on how you're going to respond in conflict. I can see for both of us that 2 things: either we react the exact same way our parents would handle conflict, or we do the exact polar opposite. So for me, I'm like, I want to get it out of the way right now because I don't want the tension, which may have been like a little opposite than what my parents did. So pay attention to that.
And in my case, because I grew up in a environment where people would say whatever they feel, I knew if I say everything that I'm feeling or thinking right now, I will cause some fire. And that's actually biblical. But something that he added to that advice on how to fight was ask your partner, how are they most likely to hurt you? And I remember you say that you were very sarcastic when you were like mad. And he is. And I said, I like to isolate myself, and I do like the silence treatment, which I do become very like silent, short, almost like cold. And I show no emotion. And we have grown a lot.
So much, you guys.
I feel like if someone would have seen us in
our first year of marriage, they would have been like, they're not going to make it.
It was such a hard year. And probably, honestly, we should talk about it in another video.
Another video, Speaking of conflict, when that comes, you're going to need somebody to lean on. And that is number 3, which is community.
Yep.
Now, of course, that community will come in huge when you're married. But let's talk about during the engagement or even dating phase of your relationship. Listen, community will tell you exactly what you need to hear, which is saying, hey, you know what, Michelle, when you're hanging around Nate, that person is not who I know you to be, right? And so, or they might say something like, yeah, that dude's a red flag. You need to check that.
Or it could be like, oh no, this is the one. Like, because they know you and they have known your pattern, whether it's healthy or not, especially if it's unhealthy, they're going to be like, yeah, no, this is another one. Or, oh man, this is the one. Which to us, that was very affirming because none of our friends knew each other. Like, we didn't know each other, but whenever we got together, his friends became my friends and so on. And that was cool. Like, I remember Dutcher, his best man, like saying like, yep, like this is the one, you need to marry her.
Literally, I called him the first time he met her. I called him. As soon as he's on the way home, I was on the way home. I said, bro, so
tell me everything.
Tell me everything. What do you think about her?
Yeah.
Why am I still doing the phone? Tell me what you think about her. Tell me, like, was I myself? Like, you really know me? Or was I faking to be somebody else to appease her? So that is what community can do. Another thing that community can help with is keep you accountable. So keep you accountable to stay pure, keep you accountable to make sure you're still staying the same person, that your goals are still your goals, and just to really keep you in check.
Something important about friends is to know that each friend will have a different role in your life. So to us, yes, when we were single, we had a lot of single friends. But as soon as we got married, we started to identify like, what are some married couples that are near us that we want to get around? Why? Because it is like the coach analogy. Like, you don't want to be coached by someone you don't want to look like. So it's the same with marriage. Like, to us, it was like, all right, all our friends, we love them, we appreciate them, and we still have them in our lives, but they're single. So their priorities are different, how they manage their finances, their trips, like their priorities, all of those things are different. So having other couples that can pour into you, like literally we have one that they've been married for 50 years, but we also have others that are 14, 10, 5, some that are like getting started just like us, and all of those are really, really important. Fourth one, and I think it's a sensitive topic that sometimes people don't like to talk about, but it's finances. Like, before you get married, you don't want to be in your honeymoon or after getting back from your honeymoon and actually talking about numbers. Like, I think it is healthy when you're dating to kind of like have some reservations, but once you start thinking about marriage, not even being proposed or engaged, really like, I want this for my life, I think it's important to say, hey, let's talk about numbers. Like, how do you manage money? What are your priorities? What are short-term goals, or what are some non-negotiables? Like, I remember in my case, we both grew up poor, so let me just make that as that clarification. But we always joke saying that we were two different type of poor, because when I, started to make more money, I was like, let's spend it.
She's like,
and in the other extreme, you were like very reserved, almost like feeling guilty about spending money for yourself.
Not almost. I was feeling guilty. Like, I honestly would never buy stuff for myself. Now, I was actually more like, I would rather buy stuff for other people.
Right, which that just came out of you not having had someone that did that for you. But what it's
not time for counseling right now.
But no, seriously, like, talking about finances, I think we did it in the surface, but we didn't necessarily talk as much as we needed to. But I think it's important. And
It is.
I'm just going to say it. I also think that once you're married, you guys should have the same bank account, like the same savings account.
Everything.
Credit cards should be like merged.
Everything should be transparent.
And I would say though, it does make it hard when you're getting gifts for each other.
Yeah.
I am better at that because I kind of like delete the notification as soon as it comes in.
Yeah. Which we're not recommending to do anything other than gifts.
I do that a lot during Christmas because I don't want you to know like where I'm getting things from. But the point is, finances are super important to talk about. Even like if you know that you're for sure getting married, or let's say that you're engaged, you guys at least should start working on a budget.
Yeah.
With the assumption of what you know your income will be by the time that you guys get married.
Yeah, finances are one of the top 3 reasons on why couples get divorced. And so if it's one of the top 3 reasons, it's not something to be ignored. Rather, it should be something to be addressed.
Right.
Going to number 5, which I believe is a giant umbrella for all of this, SYMBIS. SYMBIS stands for Save Your Marriage Before It Starts. Essentially what this is as a couple, now we're talking about actually you're engaged, you're proposed. This is what would be marriage counseling. And so both of you guys take tests individually alone, and then you go to a facilitator, and this person, like a pastor, will walk you through your answers. Now, this test really encompasses everything that we talked about and more, like a lot. So it talks about finances, sex, trauma, like what level of trauma does the partner have, which is crazy. Chores.
It's like a projection of, based on your answers, these are the things to watch for during your 5 years of marriage or whatever. And that's honestly super helpful. We actually have gone back to the SYMBIS a couple of times and just be like, oh yeah, you are afraid of achieving your dreams, and I am afraid of having a scarcity mindset and all those things. So
and what this does is, yes, you have a facilitator walking you through this, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. What it allows you to do is have way more conversations. We would go there for like an hour, hour and a half, and then we'd spend another 3 hours talking about literally the same session. And so this allows you to take that conversation deeper.
And I would say, and I know every story is different, but sometimes I think like, wow, if it was hard for us in the first year of marriage, having done all these important things, how much harder could have been if we didn't do any of it. So these are only 5 things that we recommend doing before marriage. There is certainly more. So if you have any other suggestions or recommendations, just put them in the comments. Share this with someone. If you know someone is about to get married, engaged, throw in the marriage word up there, send them this link.
If you found this valuable, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like it, share it with somebody. This won't be the end of these conversations. And speaking of conversations, we're going to drop a video of the conversations we think you should have before you get married.
Stay tuned.